All right. Thank you, everybody, and welcome. It's our new year of the AAC, and that always means elections. But our first order of business before we go into elections is the land acknowledgement. So that is new for our committee. The city and all committees have been doing this for a while, and I've just caught up to this. So I acknowledge with respect that we are in Robinson Huron Treaty Territory. The land on which we are gathered is the traditional territory of the Anishinaabe, known as Boating. Boating is the home of Garden River First Nation, Batchewana First Nation, and the historic Métis, historic Sault Ste. Marie Métis Council. And then we will go on to elections. So there are three positions. We have chair, vice chair, and site plan chairperson. So we'll start out with the chairperson. Are there any nominations either for someone else or for self for the position of chairperson?
Can I put myself down for chairperson?
Of course, Derek.
Doesn't mean I'll get it, but I'm gonna try.
Yes, absolutely.
And I'll nominate Don.
Okay. Any others? Okay, anything from Sandra? I just want to make sure I'm including folks that are online as well.
Nope, those are good
Okay.
suggestions.
All right. So can we have a show of hands for Derek from committee members? Okay. You've got a fan club, Derek. And can we have a show of hands for Dawn as chairperson? Okay. All right, so thank you. Dawn, if you'll accept the nomination as chair.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Only if I get to work with you though.
Of course.
All right, there we go.
Okay, thank you. Vice chair?
I'd like to nominate Derek. I think he
Okay.
did such a great job.
Yes. Derek takes his role very, very seriously. Okay, for vice chair, it's Derek. Any other nominations from the floor? Okay, Derek, would you accept?
Yes, sir. Will.
Okay, Derek, you are acclaimed then. Thank you. Then we have site plan chair. Are there any nominations from the floor for site plan subcommittee chairperson?
I would like to nominate Carol.
Okay,
I think she's doing a great job.
Thank you.
any other nominations? None? Carol, would you allow your name to stand?
Yes,
Okay. Carol, congratulations, you're acclaimed then.
thank you.
And at that, I'm gonna turn it over to our chairperson then.
Thanks very much, everybody. I want to welcome everybody back from their little holiday. I hope you all had a great holiday, and in particular, Sandra. Hi, Sandra, on Zoom, and Peter and Leslie. Leslie, we always appreciate you coming. Thanks very much. We're gonna step outside of the agenda for just a minute. We're gonna jump down to item number 5, declaration of conflict of interest, because we really should deal with that before we deal with any other matters on the agenda. So, and I think that this has only happened to us once. Does anybody have a declaration of a conflict of interest? And that happens only if you or a member of your immediate family would receive like a financial benefit from some matter to be discussed here today. Seeing nothing, no hands will indicate that there are no declarations of conflict of interest in the minutes. And we are going to deal with the approval of our minutes from the December 3rd meeting. Would you move that we have a question?
I have a question about that.
Go ahead.
One says November the 1st, 2025. It says 3.1, AAC meeting December 3rd. I look at this one, and it says 4.1 AAC meeting December 3rd.
That would be the secretary's fault for errors.
Oh,
So that would be me. It was December 3rd, 2025. So the November 21st, 2025, that's my error.
yeah, because
So where it says November 21st, it really should say something.
I have something that says November 21st and approving for an AAC meeting December 3rd.
Yes, we are approving the minutes from December 3rd, not the November 21st.
Okay, can I be to get this moving along, can I be a person that moves the minutes?
With the errors corrected, yes.
Because
And there's no errors, we have amendments.
Amendments.
We have amendments here. And
Yes.
Wayne, good catch, thanks very much. I also read that, didn't see it.
Yeah.
You know, I just passed over the
Yeah,
dates,
'cause I thought-
good catch.
You know, a meeting on November the 21st, approving an AAC meeting on December the 3rd, like 2 weeks later. I'm thinking,
That's pretty good.
you guys are right on top of it. You're on the future.
Thank you very much, Wayne. Can we put you down a second here? And all in favor?
Aye.
Everybody, thank you very, very much. We do have some new business to deal with today. We're gonna take it a little bit out of order. Because we do have Jonathan with us today. We're gonna jump now, Jonathan, to your presentation on Google Earth mapping, which I must say I know very little about and I'm looking forward to. So if you can, over to you.
Thank you. Before we start, I just want to get that mapping hook up, I'll get the keyboard and mouse.
So if you minimize that screen, there is a shortcut. Top left,
Operator.
or sorry, top right.
Okay, I need to do this here, right? Share screen.
Yeah, just click on the link.
For the interpreter, before we start, could we do a sound check with the presenter, please?
Sure. One moment, Leslie.
Thank you.
Jonathan, did you want to sit here because it is closer to the microphone? Sure. Do you want to do that? I'm taking my coffee with.
Should we introduce ourselves first?
Yes, we probably should.
Yes.
Ready to allow practice, folks.
We are going to go around the table and introduce ourselves. Carol, go right ahead.
Carol Magnan, committee member.
John McConnell, committee member.
Dan Perry, Public Works.
Jonathan Kirkle, Planning Division.
Diane Morel, accessibility coordinator.
For support worker.
Eric Valley, vice chair of, co-chair of the accessibility. Committee member.
Greg Kohler, committee member.
Make sure we're committee member.
So, policy planning.
Leslie, were you able to hear that okay?
No.
No, right? Okay.
The sound is incredibly terrible. Can you even hear me? My voice carries fairly well, Leslie.
Yep, I can hear you, and it's so crystal clear. Like when Sandra and Peter were chatting, it's so clear. It's just, I know that it's that room. I just don't want to miss anything with the presentation.
Yes. We'll see if Jonathan can find his outdoor voice.
Okay, can I just have the last gentleman repeat his name again, please?
Samir,
Samir, city planning.
Okay, and then the second last gentleman with the black jacket there?
that was Wayne Scharfenberg.
Thank you. Perfect, thank you.
Sorry, folks, we're still waiting for the link to load.
Yeah, I'll see if this works. But yeah, it's not, yeah. I'll go into that later. It's not critical that I try at this point. Maybe even afterwards, I can send an email just to show a visual. It's a bit interactive. So I'll start it off then. So my name is Jonathan Urkel, Plan Division. I'm sure many of you may have recognized me. I've come here a few times just to talk about site plan control applications, other development applications. And within the past year, I think I've come here a few times to talk about the Active Transportation Master Plan. So once again, thank you for inviting me to this committee to share what I have to say. I wanted to come to this committee today to explain how I'm approaching the implementation of the Active Transportation Master Plan, especially between major capital projects. Every few years, we do get money for capital funds. So that's where you see major improvements, whether that be, let's say, the construction of a sidewalk or bike lane or up trail. We get funding every few years. However, between those years, even though we're not really working on things that are maybe seeming as glamorous, we are still working on implementing the Active Transportation Master Plan. Things are a little bit quiet, it may go a little bit slow, but that doesn't mean that we're not actively working on that plan. So a bit of a refresher, the Active Transportation Master Plan was adopted about 6 months ago by City Council. It is a 20-year plan that recommends investments in capital infrastructure, such as sidewalks, bike lanes, off trail. It also has non-tangible recommendations, such as leveraging community supports to raise the profile of active transportation and make it more, as you can say, culturally acceptable in the community. And active transportation really refers to any form of human-powered travel, so that it could be cycling, walking, even taking public transit. So essentially everything outside of being a motorist or depending on the personal vehicle. So there are different ways to implement the plan. Once again, one obvious way is through capital delivery, which requires funding to build infrastructure. The other form of implementation, and that's pretty much what I'm here to talk about, is the implementation through ongoing feedback and engagement with our community partners. So the Accessibility Advisory Committee is an important partner for the city in general, especially with our active transportation initiatives. So as a part of that, I'm building an inventory of day-to-day barriers or frustrations that we may experience, as well as capturing things that we think do work well and should be replicated and preserved. So some examples of what I mean when I say that. Imagine an intersection where curb ramps exist, but they don't line up precisely with the other end of the street. Yeah, so essentially it leads you into right, it leads you to the intersection, and you may just diverge too much into traffic where it becomes a safety issue. Or signal timing that may meet engineering standards, but it's still pretty quick, makes pedestrians or whoever's crossing the intersection feel rushed, uncomfortable, and unsafe. Or specifically in this season, a sidewalk that in the summertime looks perfect, but come wintertime, a bunch of snow is piled there, and it becomes very narrow. You can't pass it, especially if you're dependent on, let's say, a mobility device. On the more positives, there are examples of intersections that work. You have those durable twisties, I believe.
Twisties, yeah.
Twisties. Signal timing that has that audio output. So those with vision impairments know when it's safe to cross the street.
And sorry, I'm just gonna jump in. We used a term twisties, so it's TWSI, and that stands for tactile walking surface indicator. So just for the average person, it's that tactile bumps at a crossing so that people with vision loss can know that they're coming to a space where, yes, where they need to pay attention because something is changing in the environment and that there is a hazard ahead.
Those bumpy yellow stripes there?
Yes, they're not all yellow though.
Now they're steel, I believe that's.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so more durable, so they don't break as easily with the plastic shell.
Yeah, sorry. Go ahead, John.
Thank you for that clarification. So I'm using a geographic mapping tool to kind of map this out. Right now I am using something called Google Earth as part of one of the Google products that they use. I'm looking to transition something to a corporate program. There are pros and cons with each. So really in practice, let me see if I can get there. So in practice, if someone raises a concern, I can really essentially drop down a pin on a map and I can include a description or a visual of what I've heard.
Could you give an example? I think I had brought one to you.
I know that's a
Yeah.
perfect example. I'm going to, I think I'll do it outside the Zoom session.
Sure.
And like at this point, this is just a. So, but I can send the link
Yeah.
to. That's unfortunate. So it's, I don't know how familiar you are with Google Maps. It's essentially a mapping program, kind of like a GPS one would use. It's very interactive in that you can add comments to something very site specific, and then it kind of plants a flag in that area. So let's say you're looking at the map, you will see pinpoints or flags. You click that, and then it expands on the context behind that pinpoint. So in practice, how that works is if someone raises a concern, I will create a pin, and it gets plopped on that map, and I will add a short description, photo. So not long ago, when you held that accessibility,
The open house in
Open house.
November.
I collected some comments, especially from you, Carol, on that Bruce Street intersection, including that budget request that went for Northern and Great North Road. And really all comments that I get from speaking with Diane, which I occasionally do, emails that I receive, phone calls. And then I just created an inventory. So the value of this is, say there's a road reconstruction project coming along, I can take a quick glance at that map. And now I can see what comments I can raise. I can see what opportunities lie there to bundle in an improvement with a planned capital project. Since the crew's already there to do, whether it's resurfacing, reconstruction, or any other type of reconstruction, you know, the incremental cost is more bundle in easier. So feedback, whether that's from projects or emails, they can easily get lost, I find. So once again, having that inventory, that maintained inventory that everyone is aware of, I'm hoping that can really have a robust form, a robust inventory of comments. Input from this committee is especially valuable because it's very unique and specific. Not many staff members can really relate to the experiences that you may encounter. So it's important for us to really collect that, make sure it's preserved, protected, and that it just gets maintained. There's also a future plan to establish an advisory committee of council. So similar to this, we'll have members of the public, as well as other staff members from engineering, who is responsible for the design of the roadways, planning, who coordinates work across all of the departments, even public works. So if we use this tool to help guide us on recommendations, it kind of communicates your concerns across all departments, across the organization, which I think is it's a simple tool, but it is very powerful to use. So thank you, Dan, for getting this map up.
Yeah, I think we need to share it though, because I don't think that's showing on Zoom at this point. We've got the map up.
Yeah, I would need to disable the screen share and then reactivate it for the entire computer.
Okay, so sorry for the folks at home, I'll include a link in the meeting materials, which will be amended and uploaded to the website.
I just don't want to mess anything up by going,
You're right.
but at least for those that are in attendance. So this is the Google Maps I was talking about. One thing, this is still in a draft rudimentary phase. I am still working on improving on the icons and the other visuals. But all these pins that you see on the map, they're connected to various nodes. So at that accessibility open house that I had, when I spoke with Carol and she raised that concern on Moon Street, I wrote it down and then I submitted it. Well, in this case, I just directly copied an email that Diane sent me, responding to Carol's comments. And then, going more north up here, we have a lot of things going around Northern and Greenwood Road.
And right now, Carol, for your reference and for anyone else that has vision loss, it's an aerial view of a map, it's not satellite. And it's mostly showing Great Northern Road, second long area. And that's what's on there. He's got pins, he's got various different features marking specific things.
I understand exactly what he's doing.
Okay.
Yeah,
So the fact that you have that geographic connection just really makes it much more easier to evaluate and screen maybe proposed developments with things like the community has raised as a concern. So essentially, if you have any issues to flag, I just want you to be aware that I want to know what your comments are. Yes.
To our guest. Over the years, Diane, our municipal accessibility plans predate your time here, and they are in archive. I suspect there are more than one or two sections that are identified for repair, removal, and improvement. Have they been transmitted to gentlemen from planning to make sure they're on the map?
Not yet, I'm working on establishing this.
Okay,
this
thank you,
inventory.
because I know that inventory is there. Again, as you said earlier, not wanting to get things lost in the shuffle. That work was done, we shouldn't have, not that we couldn't make a revisit, but I know we don't have the summer staff, one time we did. So they're used to do an inventory of those, that information would be beneficial in the one repository, because as you said, funding is intermittent at best, and you're not sure which years you'll get funding, i.e. the example on North Street. It was on, it was off, it's now on. It is doing what city projects sometimes do.
and I got a question about the pins. They're, because I'm kind of relating to it with Line Story Van Nap, okay, it was similar. So those pins, you can get those dead on where you need to put them.
Yeah, precise.
Yeah.
And they can zoom in so you can really see the precision, and even in the notes, there can be a further description. I want to find out a way on how to attach photos as well, just to make it very interactive and very media rich. Just so whoever's looking at it it's very easy and obvious what's going on.
Right.
Because they can't take it for granted that it'll be me reading it, maybe someone else that's never read it in the past.
Well, I think it's a great tool.
So overall, the goal is simple, and that is to use community and stakeholder input to better guide our active transportation projects. Doesn't need to be specific to active transportation projects, it can be anything, but that's where we'll focus. So also improve the outcomes in terms of accessibility and demonstrate community support for capital and even maintenance requests when city staff do submit those requests to city council.
I think Derek has a question, go ahead.
I do, can we put Walmart and Jiffy Lube on that list?
Yeah, absolutely.
Cause that's crossing a highway and it's cut is steep.
I wonder if I maybe even have that, because I remember we did a site visit sometime ago in the summer. I'll take a look and I'll touch base with you and again, just to make sure that it's captured accurately.
Okay,
Thank you for that comment.
thank you.
It's exactly the level of detail that this group comes up with all the time.
Perfect. And that's it for me, so if there's any questions, I'll be happy to answer it.
I think it's great.
It's good to hear.
Yeah. So when you have this one here, let's say you have this one here, just curious.
Yeah.
So you got this thing running, okay? And transit, I think they use the same similar thing for Line Story Van, right? So could you kind of put those on top of each other somehow?
Probably could. Yeah, I'm not familiar with Blind Square, but if it's anything geographic, you can overlay pins, you can overlay polygons with each other. There's a lot of possibilities with this. And you can even overlay it with, say we have a map of, you know, what roads the city wants to build in the next 5 years. You can see where they intersect, like colors from accessibility and future programs, and then you can really see what the potential is to improve on those comments. So let's say they're reconstructing a road or a street, and then let's say there is an issue with a pedestrian crossing. Look into that, or make sure the curb cuts are accurately cut. Or then let's say sidewalks are just too narrow. Like for example, like that's a new road construction. That's the perfect time to come in and say, since the road crews are going to be here, can we see about making the sidewalks better, exceeding the standards?
So let's say we come across something like that. Are we getting hold of Diane, are we getting hold of Dan, or are we getting hold of you?
I think maybe Diane could be as a central point of contact. She would know who to refer to. She may even decide to send it to two of us. But I recommend Diane. Would you?
Yes, yeah, I'm good with that. Yeah.
She can filter it out.
Right, okay.
Diane, sorry, but if you could put that, cars that are coming from the hospital, going towards that new building on Oak Island Road, we wait about 15 or 20 minutes for that light to change. Right where the new building is.
So Northern Ave, Great Northern,
Yeah, like go right where,
yeah.
you know where Oak Island Road, they have the new building?
Yeah,
We waited for 15, 20 minutes just to, there was so much cars.
but did the light not change?
It changed, but it took a long time for it to change. So when Pino's gets built, we're gonna have a bumper to bumper both ways because it's so long. Like, and this was at noon, I came home from the hospital, and I was sitting on a bus, and it was taking longer.
Oh, so you were not a pedestrian at this point? This
No, I
was
was-
just in the traffic on the bus?
Yeah.
It's, yes, and I know the city is very aware of the busyness of Great Northern Avenue right now. It is incredibly busy, and that's partially why they're looking at the Sackville extension and trying some rerouting around that very busy second line Great Northern Road area.
Okay, cause like we sat for at least 20 seconds or 15 seconds to, but the cars like front and back of us.
Yes, there's no quick fixes for this, but there are some plans, some longer term plans in place to try to move.
So just
Things
if
along.
you guys could take note, like even, so imagine if a pedestrian was trying to cross. There's so many cars going by there.
Right, but there are the pedestrian signals.
Yes, I know, but still, like we're waiting for cars. It's not like it used to be.
No, it's much busier, and you're right, for residents in the area, especially pedestrians who are residents in that area, it's challenging.
Can I comment on that?
Sure.
I think it's like that so that the traffic doesn't, on the other roads doesn't get backed up, because it can get backed up quite a bit. But if you are a pedestrian, you just have to go and press the button and it'll activate it. You won't be standing there twice as long. But if nobody's there to press the button, then they're just doing it by the traffic. That's the way I understand, that's how I experienced it. Because if they didn't, the traffic would be backed up and it would never get through, ever.
No, I just, we're talking about it, so I just want.
Yeah. But I know if you were a pedestrian, just go push the button.
It's a choke point, the way that I'm not understanding Cambridge South Development Council would have had no problem. It's a great location for it. If I was, I wouldn't put this order, that's not our call, but it's gonna create an awful choke point.
Yes.
I also don't try to stop Ben, it's be up to near impossible without
Yes, and it's already built.
Yeah.
Yes,
They also own the property.
it's, yes.
Just one other point, just to stick up to Mr. Pino for a minute here. He does have an access that goes back into the industrial park. So if we move forward, I know that they have looked at the possibility of making another connection out of the industrial park area.
There is,
Either to Sackville or to Second
so
Line.
there is a link, please. This is the advantage of having city planning staff sitting in a meeting, so some of us don't. Sorry, no, I wasn't
See it
being,
when it's complete.
I wasn't being flippant,
I
but
know.
it seems like an awful chalk point to me as it is presently constructed.
Well, we agree, and it's gonna add more traffic, but
That's,
But if I understand it, when you see the plans, I think there's a couple exits and entrances to get in there.
From the
Pino's
back,
building?
Yeah,
yeah, there's stuff.
from the back, there was, because what I do think is we built that main great front, now they have a store, a big store, so he aids some of his parking, could have a lot of parking people needed to make up. Right now, he's got hardly any room for parking, but we'll make it work.
Sorry,
Okay.
for the interpreter, Derek, I didn't hear you, and the closed captioning has us all over the place at Kennedy's B and Halloween and parking from the back. I got the gist of we are talking about the parking lot at the new Pinos on Great Northern Road. And then
Yes.
I've totally lost, we're talking about back entrances, maybe front entrances. I'm sorry, could you just repeat yourself, please?
Okay, basically I was saying that there was a lot of talk about having another road behind that. We just, right now, the buildings are under construction. So right now, we're just seeing the front and we're just seeing, oh my God, how are we gonna get the cars to go through? But I think there's a back entryway that everybody's saying that we're gonna have. I wish they wouldn't have built the bank right away, because he just took some property from himself by putting the bank further back.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions for Jonathan? Well, Jonathan, thank you very much.
Thank you.
I just want to have a question, so just to confirm, people with comments are gonna go through Diane. She'll contact you because you guys like live right next 35 feet apart now. The results of this will be integrated into future capital projects.
Yeah,
And it's, sorry, and here's my question, if someone sees a huge problem right now, that they still go to that first, right? And we'll get appropriate staff involved and see what we can do. Except when I say huge problem, I say a hazardous situation.
Immediate intervention.
Immediate intervention. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, John.
Also would like to welcome Diana and Carrie to the meeting. Hi, ladies.
Sorry. Get in the doctor's office, can't get out, then we tried to come down and there was police cars stopping us, so we had to go around. It was kind of-
These things happen. Thanks very much, Jonathan. And I'd like to introduce Brent Lyman. And Brent, it would be really helpful if you sat here because we've figured out this is the best spot to sit from a microphone viewpoint. And I'm not yelling at people, I'm just trying to talk loudly.
Is this what you call your hot seat, Mr. Chair?
That's correct. And
Or colleague?
yes, and for those that don't know, Mr. Lyman, Brent Lyman is the deputy CAO for the city, in charge of community and community services, community development.
Yeah, so planning, economic development, tourism, community services, and now fire services.
And in his spare time, Mr. Lyman coaches hockey. So Right, thanks very much for coming. As you know, there has been great interest over the city's new strategic plan by a number of people, including members of this committee. And I'd like to welcome you and just turn the meeting over to you for a moment.
Well, thank you. I'm familiar. I've been here a number of times. I think it's been a couple of years since I've been here. So I've been here when we built the Twin Pad Arena in the West End, the Plaza, the Sioux Market. So I'm familiar with the committee and nice to be back today. I think Diane has a presentation for us, maybe there. If not, I can go through hard copy here.
Do the one, well, actually, I have a shortcut on the desktop, but it's not the actual PowerPoint. I can take it back to my desktop. Oh, that would be great. That would be much easier.
Yeah, so.
Mr.
Questions? I'll send her my
Yes.
Mr. Chair,
Thank you.
if I can bring something up, go ahead, Mr. Lanning. We have closed captioning happening, so you can speak clear and slow, that would be perfect, but loud,
I'm usually pretty loud, Karen, so I'll try my best, yeah.
okay?
Right. Is it going to? I sent a message to IT today to say this is such a problem. I've been here since noon trying to get the computer up and running and updated, and it's a problem. It's almost like it takes hours to update because it hasn't been on for a month.
Dawn,
Yes,
I apologize. I need to excuse myself. I apologize.
that's fine, Sandra. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, group. Bye-bye. Take care.
Looks like the presentation is just loading here, so hopefully I'll just take a moment.
Boy, our camera's doing some funny things
All by itself.
all by itself.
Computer looks like it's working very hard today.
It is, I think it really has a hard time updating when it hasn't been on for a while.
For
Okay, well, we'll go through this, and if there's any pause or delay, I'll just go back to my hard copies. Thanks for having me here today. There's a few things here that we have in the presentation. I have 10 slides, there's quite a bit of information. Please feel free to stop me anytime throughout the presentation and ask any questions. And so for those that may or may not know what a strategic plan is, it's basically your guiding document, how you're going to achieve what you set out to do with your priorities, and with that comes your missions, vision, values, all those good types of things that are good guiding principles for a corporate strategic plan. Some of the things that came through, this was a discussion over a number of years to get to our corporate strategic plan, which leads us through for 2027. And through that process, if we can achieve what those things that are listed there, I'll just go through them quickly, what people could say about the community, we think we're pointed in the right direction. So if the community is saying, I receive exceptional service from the city of Sault Ste. Marie, I trust that my local government has my best interest in mind, my voice is heard, I'm proud to work for the city of Sault Ste. Marie for staff, I feel safe living here, the Sioux has everything a community can offer and is like nowhere else, and it's easy to do business in Sault Ste. Marie. So a vision statement is what you aspire to be. So for Sault Ste. Marie, we want to be thriving, safe, and inclusive where you belong, and the mission is how you get there. So basically, for us, we provide municipal services that support development here locally. There's been lots going on recently, just listening to your discussion before with Jonathan, lots of different developments, active transportation plan. We want to ensure that we're enhancing our quality of life, and we're here to promote cultural activity. So our first focused area that we have here under community development is well-being. So we're looking at the health and safety of the community. There's a few things that have been going on locally here in Sault Ste. Marie. You may or may not have heard about. We were lucky to receive Heart Hub funding that's being used to look to support the community resource center here locally, and also potentially a future men's shelter. We've also been fortunate to have some funding through council last budget on downtown foot patrol. So we're using those, and they stem out of the plaza and they cover the downtown core all the way from East Street over the gardens and then up and down the different corridors as need be. And while that's happening, there's also the Canadian Mental Health Association Ambassador Program that helps people in need. And then the Division 2 unit from Police Services is downtown as well. We do talk to all the organizations regularly. We have a meeting coming up in the near future to see how we can collaborate and speak to one another better, because all different types of initiatives support the core in a different way. But if we can find ways that we can offset, that we get better coverage overall for the downtown hours and people that need the services. And you do see quite prevalent, there's a big swing from the summer months to the winter months. You may not see as much activity happening in the winter. We're in the middle of July, there's lots of activity, and we have great events going on, and there's people that are in need, that need services that are there. With respect to healthcare, and before I get into that, you will be seeing in the very near future with social services and the city of Sault Ste. Marie, there's a homelessness strategy that's been finalized, and a community safety wellbeing plan. We're mandated under the Police Services Act to update our community safety wellbeing plan every once in a while, and so we'll be bringing a new plan to council hopefully in February 23rd is the goal right now to bring that. That's been undertaking probably the last year to 2 years with a lot of community consultation, open houses, and surveys, and a lot of contact with different organizing groups that have brought this plan in place. We're looking forward to having some tangible actions and having people that are identified as leads in organizations that can actually action goals. So that's maybe the biggest change, is actually having people assign the goals, tasks, and then responsibility to report back on them. So hopefully we'll have a little bit more on that for you in the near future. On the healthcare front, and specifically with physician recruitment, we hired a physician recruitment coordinator recently. Her name is Tasha Barbio. We've seen some good success recently. Before we were getting a handful of doctors, and in 2025 we were able to attract 12 physicians to Sault Ste. Marie, is either as a direct or indirect result of some of the efforts that she's has undertaken, along with supporting team members from community development as well.
Is it, yeah, it's difficult for you to see your presentation.
Maybe we could just hit enter, because the next slide there. Looks like it's froze.
Did that not change it? It did.
Yes, it did. Okay, perfect.
Okay.
Yes, this is actually for you, Diane. So we're the next group here under social equity is equitable access and opportunities for everyone. So there's a few things that we have here, and I'm sure Diane's talked to you about it. Over our last number of years, we put in key performance indicators and metrics for our different areas of the corporation to get measured on, to make sure we're delivering what's been set for the strategic plan. Some of the items listed here on this slide are tasked under Diane and via the committee to try to solve challenges. And I know from in the past, we've had collaborative efforts with planning, with public works, and meeting on site and trying to solve problems for our facilities and our traffic areas. And some of the things that here on the plan right here are under the GFL Memorial Gardens with respect to number of barrier-free spaces. That gets a lot of attention, that topic right there, ramping programs for stage, and then some different challenges that you've spoken about earlier with Jonathan on intersections. And then also things like the ramping that's happened recently at the kayak launch, and initiatives that help support access in that field. The next category under the focus area number 2 is quality of life. So we're looking to enhance different things to attract people here while maintaining services for people that are living here in Sault Ste. Marie. Jonathan went quite detailed in getting people active in the way we move people around here in the city with the active transportation plan. It looks like it went one slide ahead there for some reason, so I'm just gonna try and go back. It'll let me do that here. There we go. So we've been fortunate very recently, the last number of years, the first few years, I guess I've been in about 8 years now, we didn't have a lot of funding for park redevelopment, and we've been very fortunate over the last, say, 2 or 3 years on the funding we have received through either community partners or directly from council on being able to redo some great parks, and we're working closely with the accessibility committee. One that we've kind of put a lot of focus on is the signature park, which you may be aware of, is Rosedale Park, where we've put up a nice path in place. We paved some spots for accessible parking. We have some accessible amenities there. We've redone the whole park in partnership with Kiwanis, and it's been renamed Kiwanis Park. So that was a big success story. It's heavily used, and we're quite happy to see how that's turned out. Some other support that just happened recently at council in partnership with Public Works, and Dan here has on his to-do list is to get Snowden Park court resurfaced with heavily advanced, or not advanced, but I guess a lot more people playing pickleball. There's been a big surge in popularity, so we're looking to resurface that court for pickleball and for tennis use moving forward. We've also started to redo Wilcox Park. It's almost finished, and we're hoping to have that complete in the spring. And we're looking to do another potential park moving forward in the summer as well, in Manitou Park. We're also, you can leap right in, yes.
Parkland Park. You guys did a great job on
Parkland, and yes, for sure, yeah, Penrose, there's Parkland and Penrose Park as well, yeah, both of them. So we did 2 other parks in that, not just, yeah, they're right there listed. But yeah, both of those parks are very mirror images of each, one's in the west and one's in the south. So yeah, those are 2 other great parks that got redone as well. Diane was heavily involved in the request for proposal process and instrumental in picking the providers, and anytime we do something now, we try to have a representative on either if it's a facility or a park and get Diane's input to see, maybe spot things that we might not be thinking of at top of mind, and we try to make sure that we're building in accessible features, and when we have new builds, to make them fully accessible. We have a lot of facilities that aren't fully accessible, but whenever we try to redo an area, we try to make them up to current standards. So that is a big focus of the corporate strategic plan as well. Under the slide here as well, we have diversity and culture, that we have a few areas of the city that focus on this. So we have our local immigration partnership, we have our arts and culture division, and we have numerous events that are dedicated to that. And in this as well, it will also have some more budget towards space, and you may be aware of the recent investments we did. Another park recently was Manzo Park and Splash Pad got redone, and now we're looking to have this more as an inclusive sensory park, and Diane's involved in that project as well moving forward. So we have some budget money for that to get that on the docket for 2026 to upgrade as well. And we've had some focus on the senior center. It's amazing how much this has amplified over the number of years. So in 2024, we had almost 52,000 seniors use our programming in the city. So you put that in perspective, we're just shy of 80,000 people. So visits to programs for seniors, we've had 52,000. So we track that very closely. So what that means is, even to get to that number, you could be there and visit the programs 5 times. So that's not number of people, that's the number of attendees for the events. Okay, let's just make sure I'm on the right slide. Yeah, so for under infrastructure, there's been lots that's been done recently. Big project here, you're probably familiar with this, and you probably saw it happen over the summer. The big project we did here right at the John Rhodes Community Center was the roof replacement. We're at about 2/3 done right now. The roof started over John Rhodes 1, John Rhodes 2, and the arena, so that all got completed. This spring, they're gonna be completing the roof over the pool. Of that 4.6 million, we're fortunate enough to get $2 million in grant funding to help cover that, so that really helps out from a budget perspective for the city. This year in the budget, we got approved to move forward with Queenie Field B, which is just outside here, south of the building, to do some improvements there for the lighting that is quite required, and the facility is really 365 days. Dan's team has the oval that's very active at this time of year. We see thousands of people that skate on that facility every winter, and in the summer we have football, soccer, and different events that take place on the field, and they did some irrigation work last summer on that field, so we're quite happy to see that field get back in use this summer. From an accessible standpoint under infrastructure, there was some work being done on the plaza. That was kind of when Diane was coming on board, and so there are some accessible features in the building. There's been some things that were reviewed late and trying to make some further improvements to that facility. And programming 365 days a year. There's been some projects, as mentioned before, on the GFL Center with respect to signage, and then other items on the Greco pool and Enzo pool, as mentioned earlier. For future assets that we have, you probably see this hit the media quite heavily, and so we've had phase 1 of the Queen Street reconstruction complete. We were fortunate enough to get $2 million for that project as well to help offset the tax levy for Sault Ste. Marie. We had the first phase of the waterfront master plan approved in concept. There's been no funding approved for action at this point, so the team under planning and community development right now is refining that. They'll be bringing that back to council at some point this year, looking for a budget request in 2027, which will be February 2027, and then looking to advance that project moving forward. It has numerous components, as you've probably seen, so they're just looking to see what is the next part to put forward in a staged budget approach to implement the amenities that have been suggested. And then we just seen this, you probably all heard recently, unfortunately, our kayak dock was taken from its site, so we're sourcing a new kayak dock, and tourism has come forward to support the project, which we're quite pleased to see that happen, and we'll be looking with Dan's team on ways we can potentially secure that, so that doesn't happen again. It's unfortunate, and but it is a well-used facility, and it's important to have that put back in place for the community. The next category is focus area number 4 under service delivery, and a lot of things that have been happening. And I try to kind of tell this specific to what the community might be interested in, and so we are working on the accessibility, or I should be close to being almost presented, finished right now, right, on the accessibility customer service policy. We have new ways of collecting data. We did a pilot with a company called Flashvote for public consultation. So what that was it went out and it's let anyone join, and so we got a focus group of around 300 individuals to answer any types of surveys we had throughout the year. So they've never seen a community do more than 6 in a year, and so we actually did 7. So we set their new record to the number of surveys that were done, and there's surveys on transit, parking, accessibility, and then budget, and you'll see another survey coming out very soon on communication in general. So that will be our last survey for the year. We're also going to be having an RFP coming out in the next month or so on public consultation in general, how we do open houses, how we communicate with people in general. So we'll be looking forward to seeing what kind of submissions we get moving forward on how to make sure we're communicating properly to the public to get their feedback. And then from a staffing point right now, which is not in this right here, but I'll just add, on February 3rd, you probably just saw on the news, we are hosting a job fair led by the city to help support opportunities for people that are potentially displaced with Algoma Steel and other people that are impacted as a result of that. We have 10 employers that are hiring that are going to be participating in the job fair, and we're quite excited to see if hopefully some of those opportunities will lead to potential employment for some of those that are displaced. Right now, they're very well-known companies. I can list a few: Alamos Gold, Kena Steel, Tenaris, JD Aero, so Texa, a new company that's coming to Sault Ste. Marie. So there's a number of them there that are well-known entities, and if I left any out, you can just Google it and you'll find it real quick. We can share that information, but we're looking forward to seeing some people that hopefully get some opportunities out of a job fair that's coming up on February 3rd from 3 to 7 at the GFL Memorial Gardens. And also with that, the City of Sault Ste. Marie will also be participating in that job fair, and we continue to hire and onboard. There's a number of years, and Don can probably, the chair can probably attest to it, where there's times where we did hire a lot of employees. Frequently it seems to have changed, and we seem to be getting jobs posted on a regular basis, and we're getting good quality candidates and onboarding a number of individuals. And and key roles, which is good to see here at the city. We've also put some implementation with respect to XML documents and training as well for our staff. And in that last slide I have here that kind of ties on to that is with respect to eliminating barriers. And so we do have our new website. I know this was key, and our corporate communications lead, Tessa Vecchio, I know she was coordinating with Diane and making sure that our website is compliant for viewing and user friendly. We also have some video remote interpreting services that we have at the Civic Center that are in the lobby. And we also have some new technology at the Edmonton Clerg National Historic Site for audio tours and touchpads and support services there. So we're trying to introduce new technology to help serve different individuals in different types of ways that help the experience. So that's kind of a touch base there. I know I went through a lot. There's probably some things there I didn't touch base on, like things like the port, that project that we're working on, heavily recruiting different industries. But if you have any questions on what I presented today or just in general, I'll be happy to try to answer them. And if I can't, I'll get something again. So thanks for the opportunity.
Go ahead, Craig.
More of a comment, Mr. Chair. Mr. Fleming, thank you very much for making accessibility, I won't call it a routine matter. The fact that it's consulted before things go up. I have had the privilege of serving on this committee. I think I'm senior to everyone here. I can tell you that that was not always the case. Projects would sometimes go up, and we recognize that problem was a barrier was created through not an effort to create a barrier, but through not being in the design phase. It's much easier to correct a problem on an AutoCAD design machine than it is to move a concrete wall. And we've had occasions when there have been concrete walls. I will not repeat to you the frustration though when that happens sometimes. I thank you for making it routine. Diane, your presence, just folks, you don't know how many hours of frustration those preliminary discussions solve. The previous presentation, the idea of archiving all the identified barriers. There are some things that cannot be solved right away for financial constraint reasons, which we are all familiar with here. I think that, these projects happen when funding is available. So the idea of becoming a routine part of the process. You don't know how great a success that is. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'll get off my soapbox.
No, great, that's excellent, I agree with you totally, I mean, that's really well spoken, thank you very much. I think, and Brent, this is to you, and I'm gonna follow up on what Craig just said. First of all, I agree with everything he said. Craig's been around a long time, I've been around a long time. You're starting to fall into that around a long time category. But I really do see a difference in an awareness of the importance of accessibility amongst everybody, especially city staff. You know, I mean, that's something that 10 years ago wasn't there, and it's there now. Like we're getting there. I think, and Craig, I think you're totally right. I think a lot of this, some of this needs to come to this committee because we push. But more importantly, we support Diane, and Diane has been just an angel to us. You know, really fantastic. Thank you very, very much. We're moving, are we exactly where we want to get to? No. Will we ever get there? No, because nothing is ever perfect, right? But we're making really good progress and heading in the right direction. Got lots to do yet.
Now, if I may add, Mr. Chair, I think the lens is with any staff, if they're doing a project, Diane and accessibility come to mind, like right at the beginning. So as Mr. Kohler said, that comes to that. Before that wasn't necessarily top of mind, and it was no one's fault. It was just now it's kind of built into the.
That was my point. I was trying to make Mr. Fleming exactly, because if it becomes a matter that is always in the process, then we don't have as many occasions when things get missed or misdeveloped. Because in the senior center, that building has its problems. Some of that could have been resolved had we been involved in the original development. That's the kind of thing that you can solve on a building diagram or a blueprint a lot easier than you can once the wall's up.
Absolutely.
And this committee is also, sorry, Carol, this committee is also getting better at making comments, especially through the site plan committee. Carol, sorry, I just jumped in there, go ahead. Did you?
Oh, I was gonna say, I'm on my 6th year here, and it went by fast. And it's a big difference from the first year to now. And I think you guys did a good job. 2 months.
Thanks, make sure that's passed along.
Excellent.
I know you were instrumental on Blind Squirrel. I was waiting to put my hand up and ask you, I know you're instrumental in geotagging and making sure each bench and each bus stop, and shelter,
I'd like to add one more comment. One observation that I've made, in general, as far as disability and accessibility awareness, is that, I know when I was going to school, people with disabilities were not part of my classroom. They were not part of my educational experience, whereas that is not the case anymore. Young folks coming up have inclusion in their classrooms. So accessibility and inclusion is just part of our new staff's lives. So I think that's also part of our culture, which is we have a lot of new staff, not so much us that are kind of at the tail end of our careers. So I think that's a real positive as well.
We should have said that before Jonathan left, right? Yeah.
Yes, that's
He
right,
already knows.
he's one of them.
He's one of them, yes.
That's right.
Right, we'll let you relay that back to Jonathan.
Absolutely,
Yeah, very well. Other comments or questions? I have a question on a totally unrelated topic, and if this committee had a better chair, that person would then disallow this question. Since your chair.
There's no such thing as an unrelated topic, ask the question.
Okay, and this comes back to you, like you're talking about, safety, well-being strategy, this is one of your big focus areas. I just, and don't give away anything that you're not supposed to give away, but I know the Finnish rest home had approval to build a nursing, and the reason I'm going where I'm going is I know that there's like 80 people in the hospital right now who should not be there. They should be in a nursing home, and that's why we have people in the halls, and that's why like Emerge and the hospitalists, they're just not. Can you find a person impressive?
Yes.
But the Finnish rest home had approval. City was very supportive of it. Didn't go ahead because like the budget was just stupid when they attended the job, I get that. We had the Mississauga Creek people were going to build one on 3rd line, sort of on the old Davy home property up there. Site plan committee reviewed this, we provided a lot of comments back to them. It's like, and just looking at it, great project, you know, loved it. Nothing happened, you know, and I'm just, there was a 3rd one too, after the election, I can't think of the 3rd one. But we've looked at these, and is there any momentum or anything the city can do to kind of help move that along? Go ahead, Diana.
Yeah, I sort of know, lack of laborers. The Finnish rest home, put in to get all new road and, new entrance ways and whatnot, for the place I'm in. 3 different people have put bids in. One came in, they accepted it, they never showed up. They right to the end. Asked another one, nah, we're not interested. Another one, well, we don't have the people anymore, the laborers to do it. With the home that they were building, it just became where it was 3 times as much as what was originally budgeted.
Yeah.
And they can't come up with the money, and they're trying. And we know that it's being supported by the city and the province, sort of the province. But, and then now if it's passed again, they'll go and the contractors will be up again with more money.
You're right about the Finnish rest home, right?
It's
I know the history.
Treading water, you just can't get ahead, you just keep trying and trying. So last I heard, and this isn't via who I know, but last I heard by the staff in the home that they've given up on it now. They've just said, We just can't do it. And yet the demand is there.
Yeah, it is a more efficient way to do things, though, because the cost for the province to support someone in a nursing home
But
is
Sudbury
less,
gets
is less than the
masses.
cost of supporting somebody in a hospital. And it's also a hospital. Anyways, that was my little off-topic comment there.
Mr. Chairman, as I said, it's not off topic, because if the hospital is functioning better, that has direct impact to everyone at this table.
That's right.
Whether they're a member of the committee or a community member.
Thanks, Kurt.
But we can't get people to work, like, I'm not saying work that way, but, I'd say laborers, and I don't mean that, in that.
We do have a
Context
shortage of
either.
construction.
But yeah, we need people, trained people to do these things.
Any other comments or questions? Brent, did you have any closing comments, or are you happy with life?
I would say I'm pretty happy with life, yeah, I'm happy with how the direction is, I guess we're trying to do the best to support in a challenging time. With respect to kind of, as we said earlier on, we're trying to support, some of the individuals, not some, there's a high number that will be impacted that we're well aware of, and, trying to put support mechanisms, we're working with, SysTech as well, which has got an application in to hopefully for retraining dollars as well for impacted workers, so, we're on that front, we're also looking to attract a couple of employers to the city. You probably saw recently Protexa, Missinaba Cree had put in an offer to purchase land from the city on Gates Avenue, and they're going to be looking at opening cybersecurity training and cybersecurity monitoring. So could be anywhere. That's huge. So they have some due diligence still to do, but the goal is to potentially, if everything goes well, to start construction in the fall of this year. So that's positive. And we have some other irons in the fire with respect to trying to get another couple of employers here to sue, and while supporting the 10 that signed up for the job for to get positions hired that are looking to hire. So
Derek, go ahead.
There's a building by the hospital, as you come out, the Toyota dealer was using it for a separate parking lot. Now, there's plans on site, they just gotta rebuild the plans. So it's right next to the new Sioux Hospital. And I think they're about ready to start too.
Derek, was that for the nursing home? Is that what you're thinking of?
Yeah.
Yeah, that property that the Toyota dealer is parking on, he's one of the owners of that property. Yeah.
Well, there's a picture and a diagram on there now, so I think they're ready to start.
Good stuff.
I got a question. Hey, I'm gonna divert it.
Sure.
Because I figured we'll go right to the top, right? So,
I'll try to answer it.
So, years ago, downtown, they'd have someone, whenever they had the bucket and the picnic, go around and pick up the garbage, right? After the parades and
I know
stuff.
all about this, so go right ahead, I'm waiting for your question. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so wouldn't it be nice to hire even people that are retired, okay? That go down each street, especially Pim Street and Quinn Street, you know, maybe once a week go down Pim, maybe the week after they can go down Nav and pick up the garbage.
So we have approval to do this in budget, so Dan knows all about this. So the last budget we just had, we got permission to hire 2 full-time employees through the Public Works Parks Division that were up through Mr. Perry, so they'll be dedicated to the downtown board to do enhanced waste removal and maintenance. We also have 2 summer students that are going to be dedicated to the downtown board in addition to what's there as well, and we have part-time hours. So that's part of the transition phase from the traditional BIA to in-house and under the downtown development committee, which is new. So we've had some resource there. We also have another individual that's running our events in the downtown core as well. So there's been some significant resource put there. So the goal is to make the downtown core beautiful. Not that it hasn't been beautiful before, but enhanced, and some enhanced services there to address that. I'm not sure if Dan wanted to add anything further, but.
Yeah, thanks, Mr. Lang. We're recruiting right now for the 2 parks maintenance positions. We're hoping to fill those shortly. So in the winter, they'll be doing things like windrow removal at the parking bays along Queen for better accessibility to the stores where people park. And then exactly like Mr. Laming said, during the summer, they're gonna be focusing on, litter pickup, weeds in the paving stones and stuff like that, just, focusing on the cleanliness of the downtown.
Okay, so I want to comment on that. Okay, so yeah, it's nice to have downtown, I love it, it's great. But we also have the main roads that people are traveling on to get to them, such as Penn Street. And I'm using Penn Street because I'm walking pretty much every day. And it's horrible. And these are people, travelers, everybody is going on Penn Street. There's garbage everywhere. The grass isn't being cut. It's a disaster. It's almost embarrassing. And I have my guide dog and I'm walking and I'm so afraid one of these days he's gonna pick up the wrong thing. It looks horrible. So it's good, okay for downtown, but why not, go down Kim? Great, I don't know what second line's like, I'm not sure down there, I'm not sure. But the main streets, can they not put somebody going down the streets once a week?
Sure, so Mr. Chair,
So say it again?
if I may jump in.
Sure, yeah.
So Carol, now we're gonna have dedicated staff downtown, now we'll free up staffing to expand those services throughout the community. We do have dedicated staff that do litter pickup throughout the community, but now without that responsibility being as prevalent downtown, because we do have the dedicated staff, we should see an improvement in services in that sense as well.
Once upon a time, if I may, we didn't replace, we enhanced our Queen Street sidewalk cleaning by buying a golf cart that was called an Elephant and had a vacuum on it, and the guy could do the whole street like really well. Do we still have that equipment?
We have something similar.
Okay.
Yeah, who's an operator would operate, it's kind of like a mini vacuum truck.
Yeah.
Street sweeper type machine, so that's definitely something that is in our repertoire.
Because that would address, I think, part of Carol's concerns, it's just the length of road that we've got. If we could have some guy drive along with his little golf cart in the back and things up, that would be great. Other questions, comments? Yeah, we appreciate you coming, right, and we appreciate it. Hopefully you're gonna walk up in here and go, those people appreciate what we're trying to do, we're all headed in the right direction.
With draft line of contact, is more helpful, since we coordinate quite regularly, and Dr. Peter probably weekly, I imagine, or bi-weekly, regular planning, so.
And sometimes almost daily.
Yeah, so, you have a direct line, if there's something significant, feel free to make sure that, tell Diane, and we can coordinate to do it, so. Thanks for having me today, I really appreciate it, and look forward to coming as a future meeting again, so.
And the community safety and well-being plan is almost complete?
Yeah, almost complete. The goal is to potentially bring it at the end of February. I believe it's February 23rd is our last council meeting in February, so that's the goal.
And Derek, over to you.
I just wanted to let you know, on the Paradise side, the newer buses, and they're on the right side. We moved it down to Sue Laster's. You gotta get off on the right side, go down the sidewalk, cross over to Sue Laster's, because you can't park their bus on the left side.
Yeah, it's because it's one way, so. Yeah.
So is there maybe any way that we could fix that, or,
That'd be a discussion for transit, but given that it's a one-way, they park and exit on the right side, so I don't know. We could usually say, yes, we'll look at it, but this one might be more of a challenge to have that offset on the left side.
okay,
Yeah.
no, I just.
Can I-
Here, so I thought it.
That's a good question.
Can I suggest, I don't know if it would work in that situation, I'm not sure now, okay? But beside the building, there's a laneway from Queen to Bay. I don't know if it's wide enough for the pair of us to go down Bay and come up to Queen. And then they can open up the door and then they Is that laneway wide enough that big?
I think the laneway is blocked. It's sitting on the parking lot next door.
Oh,
So you
Could use the parking.
Okay, I'll just, check. with
Yeah, that is the-
staff.
If it was a pair bus and it was a ride book for there, they could look at using the parking lot, which would be right there on that side.
Okay,
That's location, under the ODSP office is in that building, I know it's, I
Yeah,
know exactly the problem with, just on occasion, that. Businesses that office are not always well, they're not always something visible. Whereas it's a mandatory, it's a place we visit regularly.
sounds like Mr. Chair may have had a solution right there in the parking lot. So,
And if we can get Diane to send that to the transit, we may have a solution.
I will send a note to Robin and see if that's a possibility when someone requests two blasters.
And I hear that transit is losing its administrative assistant.
Temporarily, yes. I do have, she's actually training someone right now.
Okay, good.
Yes.
Well, thanks again, Brent, that's great.
Yeah,
You're
thank you.
welcome to stay if you want, we just took a few of them out of straight through, if you wanna, that's fine.
I just wanna get the last word.
Sure.
I love Sault Ste. Marie. I do, I think it's getting better every day. That's all I want.
Thank you for serving here. Yes, absolutely.
Let's move along to our next.
Yeah, thank you.
Let's move back to our agenda and move right along here. We're up to 4.3 for those of you who are following along, which is our annual accessibility report. Diane, did you have any comments that you wanted to make?
I just wanted to, in case anyone forgets, the whole idea behind the accessibility status report, an annual accessibility status report, not only is it part of the legislation, it's kind of our way to communicate with council, how we did on our accessibility plan in the past year. So it's our report card. So that's what's behind this. It's legislated and it is our communication device on our accessibility plan. So it's brief. It's only 1, 2, 3, 2.5 pages. Does anyone have any questions? That was sent out. I don't want to spend time on it if we don't have to, because we have a couple of other very important things to speak on.
I may have mentioned this before, I may not have. Under accessible pedestrian signals, we talked about the funding not being used, but we do have, and it's next item on the agenda, we're now monitoring the status of equipment, which is something we're doing.
Indeed. That is a change that I added since you and I spoke yesterday. So that now also reads that Public Works has implemented a process for regular review of functions of the APS, which includes consultation with the AAC.
Perfect. So, and can we add in some additional stuff on the parks accessibility equipment? Because I love going to Parkland Park. Who thought that was, Brett, who thought that was a good name? Parkland Park? That was before you got there.
Well, maybe you should.
That's like Park. No, it wasn't me, but anyways, it's, my grandson loves it, so very fun.
Okay, take care.
Thanks,
Thank
Brett.
you. I'm just adding a note.
That would be great, just because, I mean, there's a lot of stuff.
And we have had a contribution, a financial contribution, with parks as well, so yes. Perfect. All right.
Any other thoughts or comments on our annual accessibility status report? In that case, we're gonna move along to something that we dealt with in December. Sorry, Carrie, I didn't see
Did
that.
Derek have a question? Was your hand up there?
when do we move the
That's coming up next.
okay, sorry,
Okay,
I
yeah,
speak too fast for myself.
we had a rather lengthy discussion at our December meeting on the multi-year accessibility plan. But we didn't endorse it, we didn't approve it, we didn't do anything with it. We all said, well, that's a good plan, and that was kind of the end of that, okay? And then, Diane, my understanding is it's moved to senior staff for comments now?
It has, yes.
Is there But as, I mean, we're the accessibility committee, we should have. We
Should
should have
endorse it
approved
before
this.
it's moved.
We should have endorsed this, right, before it goes to council. So, we do have a mover, which is Derek, and a seconder, which is Diana. I don't know if you knew you were seconding this, but you are, congratulations. Be resolved that the Accessibility Advisory Committee recommends that City Council approve the implementation of the multi-year accessibility plan. Does anybody have any comments or questions on that? That being the case, let's call the question. All in favor?
Aye.
We can say that's unanimous. Thank you very, very much, everybody. And Diane, I don't anticipate, or I don't think you anticipate any major changes to the plan, but if there are, I think if it's minor changes, just make it, right?
Yeah.
But if there's major changes, like if we're adding some new component or something, you can come back to the committee. Because then
Absolutely.
we get their blessing again before.
There's been a couple of small tweaks, but they are very, very small, nothing that impacts or really changes anything significant in the plan. But if there is anything that comes back from staff, we've passed one deadline. I've set a second deadline, and I'm not expecting anything big, but if there is, I will certainly come back with the plan for final approval before it goes to council.
And if I may say so, you did a great job on that line.
Oh, thank
Yeah,
you.
that's really, I think, we have something solid that we can move forward with. And it also provides some basis for future budgeting as well, which I think is really important.
Yes, so thank you, thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Accessible pedestrian signals. Dan, we have an extensive checklist on your line.
Extensive checklist, yes, that's correct.
Did you have any comments you'd like to make on?
Sure, thank you, Mr. Chair. Just really quickly, I don't plan on going through every single inspection line by line unless anybody has specific questions, but I welcome everyone in the committee to feel free to go through and please review the inspections. So the inspections started in mid-September and they were performed by in-house electrical staff and they were completed near late November. Okay, so as of the end of November, this is where these proactive inspections kind of took place. All of the deficiencies noted in the inspections have been addressed by staff. That doesn't mean to say that all of the APS units are now functioning perfectly, as this is kind of the worst time of year for the accessible pedestrian signals with the winter weather that we're experiencing. Some of the priorities that we're currently focusing on is ensuring that the signals are accessible because of all the snowbanks and snow removal activities that are taking place. There are also unintentional damages that do occur to these signals by snow removal equipment that are routinely being repaired. And one other major priority of the staff, or one of the major failures of our APS units, the ones that rely on solar panel and battery backup power. So this would be like the PXO locations. They tend to, frankly, there's not enough sunlight at this time of year to adequately charge the batteries. So we're routinely having to change those out. So those are the main concerns that we're focusing on in the winter. Like all public infrastructure, we do respond to all concerns and complaints or any work orders made, but staff are trying to address the day-to-day functionality of these on a timely.
And I think when we talked about this before, your game plan was to do this twice a year, once in the spring after the snow, and you made the same comment back then, I remember, that winters are tough. You know, and when the snow melts in the spring, you go back and sort of take it over. So the game plan.
That's exactly right, Mr. Chair. The idea is to get back there. I'd like to say that the snow will be gone in early May. That is currently the plan. That may be pushed back.
That's a good plan, but I don't know.
That may be pushed back a few weeks, but it seems to always be gone by June.
Okay.
So we'll, as soon as our team can get to these fully without snow on the ground, that's when we'll start the inspections again.
Perfect. Go ahead, Craig.
Mr. Barrett, to you, question on the solar powered devices. Excellent idea, but that winter problem is not likely to amend itself anytime soon. Is there would a bigger array help? I'm just, is there a solution not still uses the solar power opportunity, which I still respect as a good idea, but winter sunlight hours are, that's a permanent concern.
Yeah, off the top of my head, I think where we're at right now is hoping that the battery technology continues to improve.
Right.
Because I don't know if it's necessarily the issue of the batteries charging when there is sunlight, it's just the periods of time when there is not the sunlight that's causing the problems.
There's nothing you can do about that.
That's right.
That comes under an active block. There are comments.
I just had a question, if we can try to, because every time a wheelchair, I go up to an actuator, I get stuck. I cannot get out of the snow once I'm stuck by an actuator. So what I do is I get off on the road, which is the PV side, try to cross over and hope for the best.
Say that again, describe that again.
What it is if people have to go up to the actuator to press it, it always seems that the actuators, they get a lot of snow around them. So one day I was at my crosswalk and it was so bad I had to call somebody. Thank goodness I have my cell phone. She came and helped me press it and that's it. But we can't turn. By the time we turn and do all that stuff to get to the actuator, then we get stuck.
Yeah, and I know Dan, sorry, I'm gonna just jump in, Dan had said that that has been Public Works priority with all of this snow, trying to clear away snow so that they're still accessible. But I'm going to make the assumption that it's been almost impossible to try to keep up, because every time you turn around, you not only can you clear out some of these places, you can barely do some of the most basic functions in all of this snow.
Yeah, thanks, Diane. Well, the team's working around the clock as hard as they can to provide accessibility. But yeah, there's definitely challenges. We're fighting very difficult battle against the winter this season.
Yeah, so
heard Derek, I'll let the team know, so this is the Northern Avenue Metro
Yeah,
crossing. I'll ask them to spend a little bit more time there,
okay,
especially that's a high use location.
okay.
And we'll add a work order for that, but then, and of course, this is to the whole committee, if there are any other locations that are challenging, please feel free, we rely on this, please contact the Public Works Division, just call the main dispatch line 759-5201. And work orders will be created and staff will attend to those concerns.
And you'll check into the group health center corner there.
Yes.
So people can access that.
So snow removal on Willow is prioritized, hoping to get to it this week.
Yeah, and to the bus shelter on McNabb, like that whole corner, because that bus shelter, 3 buses moved up at that. There's a transfer point there. The RM, community bus and Sioux College.
Other questions, comments?
I'll add a comment. So as I went through this, Dan had sent me a scanned copy, which he asked staff to make it into a digital copy, which I then looked at and realized that still wasn't gonna work for Carol, because I couldn't, it's basically was a chart or a form, and I couldn't make it accessible. So I created something different, a text only version, which I was fairly confident Carol's screen reader and anyone with vision loss, a screen reader would be able to do it. But when I went through it, I realized how many there were. And I know there aren't APS at every corner, but that was a tremendous amount of work that your guys did. It was a tremendous amount of work trying to turn it in. It took a lot of time to make it into an accessible format. But I thought of the amount of work that every single one of your guys took with the information. Sorry.
And it was done really well.
Thank you.
Yes, it was very well done, very well done. And they paid attention to the details that we set out. And I think it will, and we hope it will, set the standard for, okay, now we've got an accurate picture of where we're at with the APS, and then we can move forward to try to make it work a little bit better in the future. So we're not there right now, but we are getting there, as you always say. So.
One more question. To you,
Go ahead,
Mr. Chair. Are they finishing off I know there's one building where the Circle K is. Are they gonna be adding 3 buildings to that lot?
Pine Street, yeah.
Pine?
Pine.
Oh, then on Pine Street behind the Circle K, there's one apartment building there?
Yeah.
Yeah, Rusio has plans for 2 more that are exactly the same.
Oh, okay, so they just haven't started.
And he's building one out of another.
Okay.
Interesting, the one that's there, not to drag this out, because I realize we're running out of that, is made out of primarily concrete, the next one's gonna be primarily wood. Even though the 6-story wood structure. And how much time do we have left to it? Like before the Northwest comes?
4:15, I think.
Yeah, 4:15, which means our committee members have to be ready to go at 4.
We should be good.
Yes.
Next thing on my list, notice how I'm just running along now. Okay, is our VRI trial expansion update. I saw there was a press release from the city on this last week. Diane, did you have anything you wanted to add to that?
Yeah, I just wanted everybody to know what the VRI trial update is. So video remote interpreting. So that is the iPad use, it could be a computer, where remote ASL, American Sign Language interpreter, can be contacted for in-person interactions at customer service locations. So it's been in place through this committee and through funding through the committee at City Hall for a year. It has had no uptake from the community at this point. Couple of reasons. There were some logistics. CHS staff strike this past summer kind of slowed down communication to the residents who would use that service. And then I think City Hall is not a high traffic area for a device like this. And in speaking with CHS staff, I received feedback that said, you know, if we had them at the seniors center, they would probably have better uptake. So I looked into it and it costs us nothing to add in these 2 additional locations because it's covered under our current contract. So it's just, if the service is used, there is a fee for service. It doesn't cost us anything additional. IT had equipment that could be used, so that's being implemented. So this is being rolled out on February 2nd at the Bay Street Active Living Center at 10:30? Gee,
Now we have to double check.
yeah, if you could take a look at that, and it's a launch. So the public has been invited, the press has been invited to come and see how the VRI service will work. So we'll have the iPad there, we'll be able to connect to it, I'll be able to show people how to connect to the service. They'll be able to experience it, we can disconnect, someone else can try it again. So this will be the launch event for that, and there'll be coffee and water available for refreshment. There won't be cookies.
Sorry, girl.
I'm still going anyway.
Okay. Good. So that's what that is. I'm hopeful that it's a better location and that our deaf community will be able to take advantage of that. And if that goes well, we can consider rolling it out to other locations. So we'll see how that goes on Tuesday.
I just think it's a good idea for people on the committee to go check it out, just so they know what it feels like, what it looks like, how to use it. That's how I look at things. I'm going down there, I'm gonna try,
Awesome.
you know, just so that everybody knows what we're talking about.
Sounds good.
Unfortunately, I wouldn't do it, you get a bus.
We may not at this late-ish time, but I can look into that, Derek.
Sure.
Okay.
And those call our plans there. From the agency.
Okay.
Great, go ahead.
Just the one thought, Chair, Diane, with regard to service access to City Hall, it may not be heavily utilized because that is the city's municipal hub. We never want to see that service removed from that location, even if it's not used a lot. Because of the sensitivity, if someone needs to get into City Hall, hearing it, they may need, again, it's like the question about how to handle a pair of us completely to that office building. There are locations, volume can't be the only deciding factor.
No, and I agree with you on that. There would, even if and when we didn't have the VRI service, we still have an obligation to accommodate communication needs. So even if we didn't have it, and when we didn't have it, ASL service has always been available upon request. The only challenge is that a deaf community member would have to call us and we would have to book an ASL and try to coordinate time. So it gets messy and it could be a month away. And meanwhile, you need to find out about your tax bill yesterday.
That was the office I was considering, Diane, because I think that is the one most heavily subscribed as, present, I would imagine, just as a private citizen, that would be the one I would imagine would be the one with most public interaction.
Yes, and I think you're right about that. So it is wonderful to have that service, even though it hasn't been used at this point. I think it's a low uptake there, but hopefully at the community centers, it'll have a much higher uptake.
I don't, even if it has to be debated, again, it's not a perfect solution, but it's an improvement of what was in place previously.
Right. Right.
Because as you said, and the fact we're only, I believe, 2 licensed interpreters in town, if I recall correctly. Or have they added staff since our last notice?
There is one CHS ASL interpreter and there is one freelance
So we're
ASL.
still at the same person. There's another industry that's short personnel.
Yeah.
Although I think funding for that.
Can we put Leslie back up on the screen here too?
Yes, sorry, Dan, can you slide that over? Let's see here. We can.
The time is 10:30 on February the 2nd.
Thank you, 10:30. Trying to.
You go in the main line.
Yeah, just hold on a second, Derek.
Okay.
There we go.
Thank you.
To see, and I don't know.
All right, hello Leslie. Someone had a question for you, Leslie?
I don't think people had a question for her, I just wondered if we could see her on the screen, and we can.
There we are.
Did you want to talk about our VPR update as well?
Yes, so the VPR update, so the committee in the past has had a $20,000 commitment towards the vulnerable persons registry, so that's what the VPR is. In consultation with the VPR staff and my office through Peter, funding will continue for this year. there has been agreement with the BPR to provide certain certain services or certain communication to us this year to ensure that the service is going to move forward with a higher level of quality and a higher level of assurance. There is some, it would have been very difficult to withdraw the funding because it would have meant the BPR would be finished without funding. And there is some liability attached to that for those residents who are still with us and still on the BPR. So it was important to the city that that relationship continue and that we try to build it. And if it cannot be built, that all of the community partners would be then on the same page together. So there will be some meetings coming up in the near future, and we'll keep everybody apprised of what's going on there. Is there anything else, Peter, that you'd like to add to that?
No, I think that's it from my end, Diane.
Okay, thank you. So I just wanted everybody to know that the BPR is continuing and we will have that commitment for this year, continuing with the BPR. Okay?
With the services that,
We think we're paying for.
yeah.
Yes, so we will have more information to share as the year goes on in communication with the Innovation Center.
And the last thing on the agenda is our site plan subcommittee report. Cheryl, did you want to talk about that at all?
Okay, we did 2 site plans. We're running out of time here, so the first one was the U-Haul storage facility on, I think it was 776 Great Northern Road. And we also had another one, it was the East End subdivision. It was apartments, and it was on St. Clair Drive. So we had sent everybody the email with all the information about it, and hopefully everybody got it and had a chance to read it.
Thank you. Any questions, comments? Okay, that being the case, I think, unless there's anything else we need to do, discuss, vote on, I think we can declare this meeting adjourned. Thank you very much, everybody. Okay, covered a lot of material today. And Leslie, thank you very, very much. We appreciate it. Really do.
You're welcome, and thank you again for making our city accessible. Thank you.
Next one, 30 seconds.